Kia ora, hello, and welcome to Anyway, the podcast where I unpack the chaos of reality TV. I am your host, Natalie McMurray, coming to you from Aotearoa, New Zealand. Today, we're joined by rats and snakes and scorpions. Oh my. Let's get into House of Villains, Season 1, Episode 6. Everyone is coming out of the strongholds. Even though Bananas isn't up on the hit list, he's making this shit all about himself. He says all three of his allies are up. I had no idea Shake was one of his allies. Last we heard, Bananas was trying to use Shake as a meat shield, so I don't know. Bobby and Fisa are talking to Omarosa. They apparently both thought that they were going to be put up. Omarosa is all, why? Omarosa tells us that every other villain in the house, besides Corinne and Tanisha, thought that they were going to be put up because they know in a game that big moves are required. But Tanisha and Corinne are just floaty floaters. Something along those lines. I guess we shall see. Corinne says she never saw this coming. And I have to say she's being pretty naive about the situation because her and Omarosa haven't gotten along from the start. And Omarosa put her on the hit list last time she was supervillain. So it's not entirely out of left field. She calls Omarosa a calculated bitch, which I'm sure is a compliment to her. Outside, a bunch of the villains are talking about how they don't think Shake will win the Redemption Challenge. Bobby is really gassing up Corinne. He says he'll do anything for her to stay, which I don't believe. Since when were Bobby and Corinne so tight anyway? Upstairs, Shake is pacing. He now gives less fucks than he did before. He at least knows this isn't RuPaul's best friend race. He's apparently still questioning whether he's a villain or not. I mean, you're here, Shake, so you may as well embrace it. In the kitchen, Omarosa, Corinne, and Fisa and Bobby are chatting. Tanisha comes storming in, scaring the ever-living shit out of Bobby. He says, I thought you were Ursula. Lol, Bobby. Tanisha says to Omarosa, you're so fake with me, sis. Bobby is all, it's just a game. Bobby, if you were up on that hit list, you would be just as fucking pissed. Tanisha wants to know why Omarosa couldn't just tell her she was putting her up to her face. Omarosa says she tried to talk to Tanisha 3 times, which I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't shown. Tanisha says, don't you fucking gaslight me. You gave us a whole tangerine talk about how the females were in an alliance. Tanisha says she hates that passive-aggressive bullshit. Omarosa responds, I'm aggressive, and I don't stab you in the back. I come at you from the front. Omarosa, what you just did to Tanisha was stab her in the back. Very much so. She thought you were in an alliance, and now she's on the hit list. If that's not backstabbing, I'd love to know what Omarosa's definition is. Tanisha says she's a mum and that she's here for her family. Omarosa thinks she's weaponizing motherhood. Bobby is now imploring Tanisha to cry. She's like, WTF, you've been smoking too much dick. Corinne is in the process of opening up a giant-ass bottle of white wine and asks Tanisha if she wants some. She does. She calms down immediately and apologizes for yelling. These people are so unhinged in the best way. The next morning, everyone is waking up. In the kitchen, Shake wants Anfisa to know that she would do better in the game without Corinne around. Too bad for him, Anfisa remembers that Shake tried to throw her under the bus. And she was one of the pieces of toast he was boasting about getting rid of when he thought he had won supervillain. She trusts Corinne more than him. Shake is scrambling. Eva comes over the loudspeaker and tells the villains that it's time for brunch. She says, prepare yourself for mimosas, waffles, and a Bloody Mary. Which sounds like a dream to me. Shake, on the other hand, is skeptical about group outings. They arrive at a Waffle House and all sit down to eat. Corinne tells us that she thinks Shake has a very punchable face. The mimosas are flowing and Bobby stands to give a speech. He says there's 8 villains left and that's way too fucking many. Good luck to those going into the Redemption Challenge. The people are discussing OnlyFans, and apparently some guy is jacking off to images of Shake vaping. Not only that, but he's sending this dude his empty vapes. Never heard of that kink, but hey, I'm not one to yuck someone else's yum. You get that money, Shake. Corinne is now telling us that she thinks Shake wants to be a sugar baby. Who amongst us doesn't, Corinne? don't act so holier than thou. Tanisha can't focus on her waffles. All she can focus on is how Omarosa is being a fake-ass bitch. She's stewing, thinking about how villainous she is. She thinks Omarosa would put her own mother up on the hit list. I guess Omarosa is bored by waffles. She's ready to leave. Tanisha says, it's going to get a whole lot more boring if I go home. Omarosa says, if you think you're carrying this show, you are very mistaken. And Fisa tells us that she's never seen someone pick as many fights as Tanisha. She says she's always lashing out at Omarosa. First of all, Anfisa, you were in the house with New York, and she picked more fights than Tanisha does. Secondly, Tanisha is lashing out at Omarosa because she stabbed her in the fucking back. Tanisha and Omarosa are getting heated. Bananas is getting PTSD from the bowling brawl. He's like, this is why we can't have nice things. He's waiting for the cops to show up. Oh boy. Omarosa is coming after Tanisha's vocabulary and says that all of her cussing shows low intellect, which is a notion that really irks me. I love to cuss and swear, clearly. But if you think that indicates low intellect, you've got another thing coming. According to an article from CNN, research shows that a robust vocabulary of swear words is a sign of strong verbal fluency and high overall language ability. It is considered a complex linguistic tool used to express deep emotion, humor, or emphasis. In other words, Omarosa can go fuck herself. Tanisha is preparing herself to win the challenge. They all leave the Waffle House. Upon their arrival back to the mansion, they find ominous-looking black boxes outside in the backyard. Bobby seems to think they're going clubbing. Everyone heads upstairs to get ready. Later that night, Eva asks the people to gather. We see someone walking up to the front door. And Shake lets in Spencer Pratt. The guests that they have on the show are more villainous than the actual contestants, which is kind of funny. I have to say, I used to kind of like Spencer. I know that he was an absolute monster on the hills, but he also never seemed to take himself too seriously. That was until his house burnt down in the Palisades, which is tragic, obviously. And then he ran for mayor of LA, which is also tragic. That he thought he could win. Anyway, Spencer greets the people. Bobby shades Spencer for gaining a few pounds. Spencer in turn shades Bobby, saying he has no idea who Bobby is. The people want Spencer to know that those crystals he's collecting are turning him soft. He shows video footage of what's in the box. The boxes contain rats, snakes, and scorpions. The name of the challenge is The Darkest Hour. The box is pitch black. The 3 on the hit list have to go in and find tokens. They need to bring out these tokens and put them in the box of the villain that they want to lose the challenge. Both Tanisha and Corinne are freaking out. Tanisha says she can't do it. Omarosa responds with, all it will be is baby bites. Tanisha responds with, you would know, these are your fucking people. Omarosa is probably right though. Rats are pretty harmless. The snakes for sure aren't going to be venomous, nor are the scorpions. In saying all of that, though, I would be freaking the fuck out too. Although, I feel a little sorry for the animals. If the box is completely dark inside and they're all over the ground, aren't they going to get stood on? What happened to no animals were harmed in the making of this show? Anyway, Tanisha and Corinne are all like, Shake, you win. They're out. They think it's not a fair challenge because Shake's regular job is being a veterinarian. Tanisha is taking the issue up with the producer, and the producer is like, we had no idea Shake was going to be a part of the challenge, so it's not like it was rigged in his favor. In the living room, Fairplay is questioning Spencer about how much hummingbird food he has. Apparently, he follows Spencer's TikTok and is less than impressed with his affinity for the small, adorable birds. He wants to know where the villainous Spencer Pratt is gone, along with the rest of us. Outside, the producer says, I know it's scary, but I literally cannot put you in a situation that's going to kill you. Which is true, unless they want the pantsuit off of them. They're doing it. Outside they go. Turns out the animals are not on the ground. They're in boxes. They're in boxes inside the big black boxes. Thank goodness for them. The challenge begins, and they can't even see where the boxes are. They finally find them, and Shake has already taken out a token. Corinne is freaking the absolute fuck out. Shake gets another token. Bobby is pissed. He doesn't want Shake to win. Too bad. He comes out with another token. Shake is gunning for Corinne. And Corinne is out. Shake has given her 5 tokens. Tanisha is all, doesn't that mean that the challenge is over? Nope, but she walks out. She's quitting, which I hate to see. Tanisha says she doesn't fuck with animals unless they're on the menu. Bananas wants us to know he isn't mad. He's just disappointed in Tanisha. Spencer says peace out. The people congratulate Shake on his win. Outside, Bananas, Tanisha, and Fairplay are chatting. Tanisha is like, I know you're upset. She thinks that they're going to save Corinne. Tanisha says to us she knows she needs to do something drastic to stay. She wants to put everything on the line. We then see her making a phone call upstairs in the bathroom. Curious indeed. The next morning, everyone is asleep in their beds, and we hear the melodious tones of a choir downstairs. They're singing, I didn't get no sleep because of y'all. You don't get no sleep because of me. Get the F up. Get the F up. Get the F up. Sorry about that. Tanisha's anthem from the Bad Girls Club. And they're banging sheet pans together, which is fucking amazing. Love it. Everyone loves it. Everyone but Anfisa. She's being a party pooper. Tanisha calls out Omarosa. She says, that was for you, sis. Omarosa wants to steal the moment. Too bad for her, the moment has already been and gone. In the bedroom, Bobby, Bananas, Tanisha, and Shake are talking about who they're going to vote for. Bobby is reminding them that Corinne voted against New York, so he's now questioning his vote to keep her. Tanisha says she's fighting for her life, which is not entirely true. She definitely could have stuck her hand in the animal boxes. But whatever. I want her to stay. She's so much more entertaining than Corinne. Corinne tells us she's not a bimbo, but she's kind of acting like one, saying that she has 3 people in her corner. In his testimonial, Bananas is bigging Tanisha up. He says she pulled off the greatest prank he's seen in his career, and that shows how much she wants to be here. He's comparing her to Professor X, Charles Xavier himself, which is high praise. He thinks Tanisha could levitate sheet pans with her mind if she tried. Bananas is in a dilemma about who to vote for, because they're both his allies. Turns out none of these people have figured out who they're voting for. Bobby is flip-flopping all over the show. Eva comes over the loudspeaker and says, time to get ready for the banishment ceremony. She tells Bananas to get changed because he looks like a fucking scumbag in what he's wearing. Eva is kind of growing on me. I'd like to get an evil voice audio loudspeaker installed in my house. I'd really like it to do my bidding and give my husband and child instructions on what they should be doing. That would be great. We see everyone entering the strongholds. Omarosa assumes her seat. Joel asks Tanisha and Corinne to take their positions in front of the flip-back chairs. Corinne wants the people to know that each and every one of them have touched her in a different way, which is a record scratch for Joel. He's all, what? They did her? Tanisha says it's been an honor to be here. She let herself and everyone else down yesterday. She wants another chance to play. The people vote. And the votes are in. The decision is unanimous. Third villain to be banished is Corinne. Corinne feels like a fool for trusting these people, which is totally fair enough. She feels betrayed by Bananas. But she's correct. This is the House of Villains. You trust no one. Bye, Corinne. I'm confused why Anfisa didn't vote to keep Corinne. Doesn't she despise Tanisha? Did she get confused about the voting system? Who knows? Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.